Feminism is hated because women are hated. Anti-feminism is a direct expression of misogyny. It is the political defense of women hating. Sexism is the foundation on which all tyranny is built. Every social form of hierarchy and abuse is modeled on male over female domination. Under patriarchy, every woman's son is her potential betrayer and also the inevitable rapist or exploiter of another woman. I want to see a man beaten to a bloody pulp with a high heel shoved in his mouth, like an apple in the mouth of a pig. Women have been taught that, for us, the earth is flat, and that if we venture out, we will fall off the edge. Some of us have ventured out, nevertheless, and so far we have not fallen off. It is my faith, my feminist faith, that we will not. I have to ask you to resist, not comply, to destroy the power men have over women, to refuse to accept it, to abhor it, and to do whatever is necessary, despite its cost to you to change it. Wild intelligence abhors any narrow world, and the world of women must stay narrow, or the woman is an outlaw. No woman could be Nietzsche or Rimbaud without ending up in a whorehouse or lobotomized. We must refuse to submit to those institutions which are by definition sexist: marriage, the nuclear family, religions built on the myth of feminine evil. No phallic hero, no matter what he does to himself or to another to prove his courage, ever matches the solitary, existential courage of the woman who gives birth. Men who want to support women in our struggle for freedom and justice should understand that it is not terrifically important to us that they learn to cry. It is important to us that they stop the crimes of violence against us. Many women, I think, resist feminism because it is an agony to be fully conscious of the brutal misogyny which permeates culture, society, and all personal relationships. Surely the freedom of women must mean more to us than the freedom of pimps. Pornography is the essential sexuality of male power, of hate, of ownership, of hierarchy, of sadism, of dominance. Erotica is simply high-class pornography, better produced, better conceived, better executed, better packaged, designed for a better class of consumer. Families make possible the super exploitation of women by training them to look upon their work outside the home as peripheral to their true role. Could women's liberation ever be a revolutionary movement? Not rhetorically, but on the ground. There is no place on earth, no day or night, no hour or minute when one is not a Jew or a woman. All personal, psychological, social, and institutionalized domination on this earth can be traced back to its source, the phallic identities of men. The tragedy is that women, so committed to survival, cannot recognize that they are committing suicide. Heterosexual intercourses, the pure, formalized expression of contempt for women's bodies, biological superiority, the world's most dangerous and deadly idea. Men have constructed female sexuality and in so doing have annihilated the chance for sexual intelligence in women. Sexual intelligence cannot live in the shallow, predestined sexuality men have counterfeited for women. Can women make use of men's vulnerability not to marry but instead to destroy male power? The common erotic project of destroying women makes it possible for men to unite into a brotherhood. This project is the only firm and trustworthy groundwork for cooperation among males, and all male bonding is based on it. Only when manhood is dead, and it will perish when ravaged, femininity no longer sustains it. Only then will we know what it is to be free. If you want a definition of what a coward is, it's needing to push a whole class of people down so that you can walk on top of them. It is a tragedy beyond the power of language to convey. When what has been imposed on women by force becomes a standard of freedom for women, and all the women say it is so, the essence of oppression is that one is defined from the outside by those who define themselves as superior by criteria of their own choice. If pornography releases sexual tension, why don't we send recipe books to the starving? Male supremacy is fused into the language so that every sentence both heralds and affirms it. Genocide begins, however improbably, in the conviction that classes of biological distinction indisputably sanction social and Political discrimination. Women intend to save themselves when sacrificing. Some women, but only the freedom of all women, protects any woman. I have been asked politely and not so politely why I am myself. This is an accounting any woman will be called on to give if she asserts her will. The cultural institutions which embody and enforce those interlocked aberrations, for instance, law, art, religion, nation states, the family, tribe, or commune based on father right. These institutions are real and they must be destroyed. Male dominance in society always means that out of public sight, in the private, a historical world of men with women, men are sexually dominating women. Truth is harder to bear than ignorance, and so ignorance is valued more, also because the status quo depends on it. But love depends on self-knowledge, and self-knowledge depends on being able to bear the truth. You think intercourse is a private act. It's not. It's a social act. Men are sexually predatory in life, and women are sexually manipulative. When two individuals come together and leave their gender outside the bedroom door, then they make love. One of the differences between marriage and prostitution is that in marriage you only have to make a deal with one man. Pornography incarnates male supremacy. It is the DNA of male dominance. Every rule of sexual abuse, every nuance of sexual sadism, every highway and byway of sexual exploitation is encoded in it. The genius of any slave system is found in the dynamics which isolate slaves from each other, obscure the reality of a common condition, and make united rebellion against the oppressor inconceivable. When two individuals come together and leave their gender outside the bedroom door, then they make love. Institutionalized in sports, the military, acculturated sexuality, the history and mythology of heroism, violence is taught to boys until they become its advocates. The traditional flowers of courtship are the traditional flowers of the grave, delivered to the victim before the kill. The cadaver is dressed up and made up and laid down and ritually violated and consecrated to an eternity of being used. No woman needs intercourse. Few women escape it. The creative mind is intelligence in action. In the world, social outrage is power protecting itself. It is not morality. One of the reasons that women are kept in a state of economic degradation, because that's what it is for most women, is because that is the best way to keep women sexually available. There is nothing as dangerous as an unembodied principle. No matter what blood flows, the principle comes first. The First Amendment absolutists operate precisely on an embodied principle. Men are distinguished from women by their commitment to do violence rather than to be victimized by it. By the time we are women, fear is as familiar to us as air. It is our element. We live in it. We inhale it. We exhale it. And most of the time we do not even notice it. Andrea Rita Dworkin, September 26, 1946, April 9, 2005, in Camden, New Jersey, to Harry Dworkin and Sylvia Spiegel. Her father was the grandson of a Russian Jew who fled Russia when he was 15 years old in order to escape military service, and her mother was the child of Jewish immigrants from Hungary. She had one younger brother, Mark. Her father was a school teacher and dedicated socialist, whom she credited with inspiring her passion for social justice. Her relationship with her mother was strained, but Andrea later wrote that her mother's belief in legal birth control and abortion, long before these were respectable beliefs, inspired her later activism. Andrea was an American radical feminist, writer and activist best known for her analysis of pornography. Her feminist writings, beginning in 1974, span 30 years. They are found in a dozen solo works, 9 books of nonfiction, 2 novels, and a collection of short stories. Another 3 volumes were co-written or co-edited with us constitutional law professor and feminist activist Catherine A. McKinnon. Andrea began writing poetry and fiction in the 6th grade. Around that time, she was undecided about whether to become a lawyer or a writer, because of her interest then in abortion, and chose writing because she could do it in a room alone and nobody could stop me. Throughout high school, she read avidly, with encouragement from her parents. She was particularly influenced by Arthur Rimbaud, Charles Baudelaire, Henry Miller, Fyodor Dostoevsky, Che Guevara, and the Beat poets, especially Allen Ginsberg, and has included among writers she admired most Jean Genet, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and Lord Byron. She graduated in 1964 from what is now Cherry Hill High School West. The central objective of Dworkin's work is analyzing Western society, culture, and politics through the prism of men's sexual violence against women in a patriarchal context. She wrote on a wide range of topics including the lives of Joan of Arc, Margaret Papandreou, and Nicole Brown Simpson. She analyzed the literature of Charlotte Bront, Jean Rhys, Leo Tolstoy, Marquis de Sade, K.B. Abe, Tennessee Williams, James Baldwin, and Isaac Bashevis Singer. She brought her own radical feminist perspective to her examination of subjects historically written or described from men's point of view, including fairy tales, homosexuality, lesbianism, virginity, anti-Semitism, the State of Israel, the Holocaust, biological superiority, and racism. She interrogated premises underlying concepts such as freedom of the press and civil liberties. She theorized the sexual politics of intelligence, fear, courage, and integrity. She described a male supremacist political ideology manifesting in and constituted by rape, battery, prostitution, and pornography.